Let's talk briefly about how you would increase profits with information, because it is with that information that we make little adjustments to increase our sales. Now, whenever you sell a product online, it's rare when you have a hit right out of the box. It probably takes a little while before you can figure out exactly what people want, and then you offer it to them. And you've got to make little adjustments to the sales process. And even if you're reaching your financial or your sales goals, you need to know whether or not you could have done better. Perhaps you had 300 sales or 300 units of sales, but you probably could have had 500 if you had had better information. Because sales figures are really only one part of the equation. Even after you get the conversion rate, the earnings per clicks, and the traffic numbers from the affiliate platforms, they only tell part of the story as to how well you're doing and how well you could have done. Now, in order to know what to change in order to do better, we need to know whether or not people are making positive decisions on their way to buying our product online. And so we have certain questions we want to answer. We want to know for certain if the majority of the people came from an email or did they come from social media. How many people came to our landing page or our bridge page and then decided not to go on? How many people are coming to our site that are brand new, and how many are existing customers or visitors or prospects? You see, we can answer all of these questions and questions like them by having Google Analytics installed on our website and configured at every step of the process for the individuals that visit our sites. But, see, Google Analytics requires that we know how to set it up so that we're able to collect the right statistics as well as to get to the right reports. Now, we can show you how to set it up correctly if you follow the links on this page. Then you'll be able to make the adjustments on the right things at the right time that can increase your profits. Hello and welcome. Now, in this course, you are going to receive a tutorial on a basic setup of Google Analytics on your site. Now, we'll start with how to begin with a new Google Analytics account. Now, you'll be connecting your website and or custom page builders or even your WordPress site. Then we'll be walking through some of the specialized features of Google Analytics, such as setting up annotations so that you'll know how your site is performing at a glance. We'll be setting up intelligence events so that you can have emails sent to you when certain things happen on your site. We'll be setting up custom segments so that you can break down different views of your website activity. We'll then be looking at specialized functions of Google Analytics. We'll be talking about how you can export your data for further analysis, as well as setting up custom reports. And we'll also be talking about different integrations that you can do with Google Analytics to extend the functionality. We'll be talking about different templates that have already been created that you can actually use so that you don't have to create them all yourself. And specialized actions such as real-time reporting. And real-time reporting allows you to see what's happening with your site at the moment. And you'll see how to view this through your Google Analytics account. Now, you'll see how to read your reports. And finally, you'll conclude the course with being able to do a basic setup. And of course, when the course is over, you'll be able to do your own basic setup and explain what's happening in your reports. You'll then be set up for a more in-depth and advanced study of everything that Google Analytics has to offer. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to take a look at the navigation and the admin panel for Google Analytics. And when you reach the URL, you're just going to go ahead and click Google Analytics, and this will bring you into the home screen. Now, there are a couple of things that you'll want to take note of. First, the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see 3 dots. You're going to click those dots, and then you're going to click into User Settings. This is where your account identification information is going to be, and account will start with a default date range of 7 days. If you want to look at something more than that, you can look at as much as a month at a glance, but typically you're going to look at 7 days or a week. If you scroll down, you're going to have certain things in your account by default. And that means then that Google Analytics will send you information on all 4 categories, including performance suggestions, feature announcements, feedback, and then other offers from Google. If you don't want to receive any of this information, you can actually untick all of the things that you don't want to receive. Now, email analytics will come direct to your mailbox, and you can get all website data for any website that you have set up for Google Analytics. You can have that set up by default in this area when you start your account. And we'll now go back to the home page, and you're going to see a left side menu here, and some of this left side menu we'll be discussing in this course. We're going to be discussing the reports menu, real-time audience acquisition behavior and conversions. All these are reporting mechanisms that will tell you certain information about your sites and your traffic. The customization menu will give you latitude over how you want to get the information and what you actually want to see. And we'll talk about that in this course also. Discover is additional information and research on Google Analytics. And the admin panel at the very bottom is where you'll be doing most of the work in setting up websites and other factors of your Google Analytics. For example, if you were to look at the properties menu, you'll see that we can pull down this drop-down menu and we'll see all of the sites that we have set up with a particular account. In fact, if we want to create a new property or a new analytics set of reports for a particular website, this is where we will create that new information. Now, it's quite possible that you could be working with a client, and if that's the case, you will actually create an account for their information by going to this account area. And when you want to take a look at different kinds of views, you can actually do that from the view menu and you can create that view. We'll actually discuss that in this course. So you've now seen a basic orientation of the dashboard and how you navigate. And with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now, it's quite possible that you do not have a Google Analytics account connected to the Google email address that you want to use. And if that's the case, you are going to want to set up the Google email address where you want to receive notifications and where you want to hold your records. And to do that, you are going to go back to the Google Analytics account, and you're going to want to make sure that you are signed in to the account where you actually want the new Google Analytics to be associated. And you're going to just go into Google Analytics, and you are going to come to a screen where Google will ask you to sign up, add tracking code, and pretty much learn about your audience. And all you'll need to do is to click this sign up button, and then you'll be taken to the new account setup. Now, when you first sign up, Google is going to ask that you create one account name and that you create a website name. You're going to have to set up at least one website in order to get started. Now, we are going to walk through that process in a separate video, but you can actually write in all of the minimal amount of information that you need, and then Google will actually bring you to the terms of service. You want to read them and then click accept. And one of the reasons why you might set up a different account is because you might want to have different access for different users. And if that's the case, what you're going to do with this second account is you're going to add a user. And you can do that by going to the admin area. And you'll see on this left-hand side that there is a user management link. You're going to click that link. And then you're going to add account users. And what you're going to do is you're going to click this plus button. And then you're going to add in some other email addresses of individuals that are going to have access to the account. Of course, you're going to make sure that they're notified by email, and then you're going to determine whether or not they have certain permissions. If you want to give them permission in order to update the account and edit it, you're going to give them that permission. And then it automatically gives them access to collaborate. Now, you can also decide that you don't want to give them access to the edit, but you want them to be able to collaborate. You can decide not to do that one, and you can give them read-only access. And in some cases where you have client and you want to give them access to their own account so they can see it, but you don't want to have them inside of the one that you're creating for other properties, in this separate account, we can give them the ability to read and analyze when we give them access to the account. We can determine that we want them to be able to manage users. And whatever level of permissions that we have decided to give this person, we can go ahead and then click add. So basically what you have now is you have another account that you can actually use, and you can have other people attached to it, while at the same time you can keep a separate account to manage certain properties and you don't want to have others connected to it. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to set up an account for any website, web page, or set of pages that you are going to track. In order to do that, you are going to go to the admin area, and you can reach the admin area by clicking this gear icon. When you get there, you're going to look for this property drop-down menu, and then you're going to click create new property. When you get there, you're typically going to be tracking a website of some kind. So you're going to click website. Now if you are tracking the activity on the mobile app, you're going to want to click this box. But in most cases, you'll be tracking your website activity. Now you're going to write in a name that you're going to see internally, and this is going to be something that you're going to see from inside of the website. So you want to go ahead and write in a website name. Once you do that, you're going to write in the website URL. And the website URL is actually where you're going to put the tracking code for a specific property. So in this case, you can actually write in an entire website, or you can actually put in a website that you're going to be tracking within a subdirectory. So in this case, we're going to put in a website in a subdirectory. Now you're going to be asked the industry category, and you're going to be using this primarily for comparison's sake. So what you're going to do is pick the general area that your site is going to be in, and then you're going to pick a reporting time zone. Now the reporting time zone is going to give the time for your particular site, and you want to be able to follow the activity based on what you know about your time. So you want to go ahead and set this particular site to your time zone. Once you do that, you're going to click the tracking ID. And once you have the tracking ID, you're going to look at this number, and this is going to be the number that you'll be entering in when you are going to be working with WordPress, or you're going to be working with a specific property or a plugin of some kind. You're also going to see that you have a JavaScript code. And that JavaScript code is what you're going to actually copy into the website where you're actually going to be looking. And this will actually measure all of the activity from the level at which you connect the code to everything that happens underneath that code or in every subdirectory afterward. For example, you'll see that you have a website here, you have a subdirectory, and Google Analytics will be set to track from this directory and everything that happens after this subdirectory. Once you have your tracking code, you are going to go to the data collection area. And if you're going to keep up with your audience demographics and their interests, you are going to want to enable this feature, and you'll need to turn this on. Now, if you're going to be doing retargeting with your account and you want to track the effects of that retargeting, you're going to want to turn on remarketing. But in most cases, until you're actually doing it, you can actually leave this turned off. Once you have the advertising reporting features turned on, you're going to click Save. Now if you go to the left side menu, you're going to scroll down and you'll see a link here that says Referral Exclusion List. And this is pretty important. If you have a lot of traffic coming from a particular site, let's say that you're selling a product on an affiliate network, because that won't be an indication of how much traffic you're actually getting. It's just a referral or it's a pass-through. So if you have any sites that send you lots of visitors, but you're not necessarily looking to track that activity, you want to include them in your referral exclusion list. And the same concept is going to be true if you go to the left side menu and you click the search term exclusion list. If you have a particular term or a way that people find your site or find your location that isn't necessarily going to help you in terms of tracking that information, you want to include that search term in your search term exclusion list. Once you've done that, you're going to come back to your property settings, and you're going to go ahead and turn on your demographic and interest report button, as well as your in-page analytics button. And once you've done that, you can then hit save. And once your content has been saved, you are then ready to connect your Google Analytics account to your website. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.